$8 million in both U.S. and state grants and contracts to deal with this influx of all these migrants. The Lutheran Immigration and Refugee Services got over $45 million from the government in 2017. It is no wonder then that Pueblos Sin Fronteras, the big backer that we talked about in the angle, behind these migrant caravans, they helped to organize the caravans, referred to the mass of migrants in a press release today as, quote, the Exodus. Well, it's an obvious reference to the Bible, of course. They use that same term, the Exodus, 17 times. Joining us now to debate whether this caring for, taking them in, $430 million later, if these numbers hold, why it's all required of us as Christians and people of faith to spend this money, take it all in. Pastor Aubrey Shines and the Glory to Glory Ministries, and Jonathan Merritt, the author of Learning to Speak to God from Scratch and contributing editor at The Week. Jonathan, let's start with you. Do you see how some people might consider this sort of activism a misuse of religion? My question is, can't religious people disagree on how to welcome a stranger and how to help others in need versus essentially throwing open our borders and releasing people once they cross the border illegally?
Yeah, absolutely. We can disagree on how to do it. I think that what you're reading in this press release is a recognition of the fact that the Christian story is really a migrant's tale, and this is not the first ministry to use that kind of language. The U.S. Conference of Catholic Bishops have done this. The World Relief, which works with the National Association of Evangelicals, have done this. The Ethics and Religious Liberty Commission of the Southern Baptist Convention, with 15 million evangelical members across the nation, have also drawn on this language. So this use of this language is not a controversial thing if you really look at the groups that are using it. And it's not a left-right thing. You're finding that a lot of Christian groups on the political right have used this language as well.
I understand what you're saying. However, if you take money off the table for the U.S. Conference of Catholic Bishops, they get about $100 million. All in, it's about $100 million a year. Okay, Lutherans about a half, 50 million. Other groups, tens of millions of dollars. You take that federal money off the table, and I'd love to see all of the great work of all these organizations.
It's slightly offensive if you've ever spent time with social workers in America. These are not people driving Cadillacs and making it rain with money. These people, listen, I'm saying the people who are resettling refugees, if you actually go out and spend some time with Catholic Charities, for example, these people are not in it for the money, and even insinuating that is quite frankly quite offensive to religious America.
Well, I will say what's offensive to me is someone cherry-picking verses out of the Bible, like Matthew 25, the admonition to feed the hungry and welcome the stranger.
Yeah, but if you're not cherry-picking. You're not cherry-picking out of the Bible, because now you're in my arena. I'm the guy here between the two of us who went to seminary. You're not cherry-picking it out of the Bible.
Yeah, what cherry-picking, Aubrey?
Almost every biblical character, every character in the Bible was an immigrant.
Is it in the Bible not to let the other guests speak? I don't think so. So let's go to Matthew 25. Does the admonition to care for others apply to individuals or to governments, Aubrey?
Well, listen, first of all, thanks, Laura, for having me. Always great being with you. And Jonathan seems to choose whatever he wants to choose. He certainly doesn't represent an orthodox view of anything that's biblical, whether it is on this issue or same-sex marriage issues. He just doesn't. The Bible is constructed of a group of laws. And if you happen to believe in Christianity, and again, I know that, Laura, you have a lot of viewers that don't, but if you were to choose to be a Christ follower, Christ says, and I quote, "I am the door. Do not come to the Father any other way other than through me, the door. And if you don't come that way, you won't be welcome." So Jonathan's views are not in keeping with anything that's orthodox, nor has his views been on any subject matter as it relates to anything, especially that this president is doing right now.
Well, what-
He's out of order, and he's been out of order, and this is why he grandstands every time he has an opportunity to speak.
Well, one of the things that I think everyone has to kind of come to terms with is that if there are borders and if there are things like called countries, then we must respect other countries' laws. That is also in the Bible. Render unto Caesar what is Caesar's. Jesus and Mary traveled freely. They traveled freely within the Roman Empire because they lived, in Roman occupied land. I mean, the idea that it's just like we can have an open, borderless society and we'll all be better people. I mean, I guess we could do that. I guess we can just say there are no borders.
We cannot open
And
our
here- but
borders no more
we're not
than we
talking-
can
no,
open
no,
up
no,
our
hold on.
doors. We
John,
lock our
okay,
doors
we're not
at
talking
night
about-
for
we're
a
not
reason,
talking about anybody
Stop
breaking laws.
grandstanding.
Yeah, hold on.
We're not
Jonathan.
talking about anybody breaking laws. These people are seeking
They
asylum.
are
which if
breaking
you
the
didn't
laws.
notice-
If they come
A,
here
it's not
without the
illegal. It's actually
Okay.
protected by both the
Agreed.
I
United
have a
States
question.
and
Okay, guys, one at a time. I'll question of both of you the same question. Same question. Jonathan, if someone walked through your front door uninvited and set up shop, maybe had a couple other people with them, and maybe they broke down a fence to get to your house, or maybe they broke in through the front door, or maybe they came through a window, but they said, you know something, I feel oppressed, and you need to help me. Do you call the police? Or do you say, well, the Bible compels me to help you because you say you have a claim? You see, when you take it out of the current
Yeah.
situation and
Well,
you
no,
put it in an individual
well,
context.
no, well, first of all, we're not talking about somebody breaking into houses. We're talking about
Okay.
people seeking
Yeah.
asylum, right? So that's the difference. Of course, when you frame things that way, a disingenuous way, a way that doesn't actually align with the situation, it sounds like that.
Really?
If you
Because
said
not last
that
time I
there were
checked,
people
but they're
who were
breaking down-
fleeing violence, if you
They're
said that there was a
breaking
mother
down
with her
barriers.
children, and there was a mother
Yeah.
with her children who was fleeing violence and
Yeah.
came to my doorstep, yeah, I think I would help that
Really?
person, and I think
They
Jesus
kicked
would
in
want
your
me to.
front door, Jonathan. You'd be calling 911 in about 5 milliseconds, okay? Someone kicked down your front door and they claimed that they needed help. You'd say, whoa, 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 whoa. Who are you? What are you doing here? Why are you here? And Aubrey, I probably have the answer to the question. You would call
Well,
911 because it's a violation of your border. One at a time.
It
I'm
is a
grandstanding.
violation.
I'm
It's
grandstanding now, but that's what I can do, and it's my show. Guys, we'll have you back. I love having both of you on. We disagree on some stuff, but it's good. All right.